I'll try and throw some pictures in at this point, but like if I'll try. If you go back and I'll try and throw some pictures on the screen to give you an. You know, well, it may be no surprise to say that, like, you know, I kind of spend a lot of money on drums, and I've kind of done a lot of that over the last 10 years. I mean, well, to be honest, the last 3 decades. But like, in the 10 years that I've lived in this current house and had this lovely little well, haven, really. If you go back on sort of like the little, well, history of my channel, and I'll try and throw some pictures up of what this room used to look like. I mean, even to me, this has gone through a bit of a extraordinary transformation. I mean, when I first moved in here, as I said, it's 10 years ago. 10 years ago, in about 6 weeks, actually. I mean, this room, these 2 rooms, like, felt quite big, and now I'm sitting here, and it feels quite small. It feels very, very small, actually. But when I first came into this room, I mean, I had, you know, even then, I had, by anyone's standards, quite a few drums. But in the last 10 years, it's just it has got a lot worse. I mean, I never planned to sort of have this many drums, and I do genuinely walk in here. Well, we walk in there actually, and think, what the hell have you done? And I feel that, I think that quite often. And in fact, I will probably feel that again tomorrow, because I have another kit turning up tomorrow, and I'm already like way stuffed for space. And tomorrow will be an interesting day if I try and get those drums. It's only 3-piece, but like, if I try and get those drums actually out the house and into the studio, that's going to be quite a, you know, it's going to be quite an achievement. It's going to be quite an achievement getting them in here. I may take this kit down. This is the Prestige Session Elite, which I may or may not have put the video up for by the time I put this one up. I don't know. I'll see how I go. As I said, I never really set out to you know, like, have lots of drums or have this sort of well, you know what, I'm going to say insane collection. But you know, it's kind of, I think the reason I've ended up with so many drums, and this is where it ties into having this room. Okay, most people don't have the luxury and luck to have a room like this. Although obviously more and more people are having home studios, which is fantastic. But I took the view about 11 years ago that I was going to stop worrying about what people think, and I was. Something I genuinely believe, actually. I'm not really a person of, like, you know, believing in karma and this and that and everything else, but, like, I genuinely do believe that, well, 2 things, actually. You miss 100% of the chances that you don't take, and I would rather worry about having done something than regret not doing it. And I kind of try and exist within sight of those 2 objectives, and I mean, the thing is, you know, when it comes to buying drums, I mean, there are many factors. This is not the most sociable of instruments, obviously, and certainly in terms of like being this daft with it, and I'll spin you around. So right, this is the room as is, and now I can't see where this is going, but like, you know, this gives you an idea. Not like if if you've been looking at this channel for a while, you'll kind of have already seen all that. But there you go. I mean, and this is just this room. The other room. This is the reason why I haven't done a tour around here recently. The other room, it just basically, there's a clear pathway through there now. But as soon as you turn into the room, it's about 7 feet of drums. And there's really no way to do a tour around there. Because literally all you're looking at is boxes and cases of drums. Now, anyone looking at that would say, you have a problem. And you know what? I would agree. But the thing is, as I said, I kind of like go on the basis of like buy now, worry later. I suppose it's one step on from buy one get one free. Buy now, worry later. And I think the main thing is I mean I've always had a fairly decent job. There was a period over the last few years where that actually wasn't the case. But I've always been lucky enough to be in fairly steady employment. As I said, I've been in this house for 10 years, and I've been blessed with a wife who genuinely doesn't care what I do out here in terms of all this stuff. She's wonderful, and as long as I have enough money to help pay the bills, then she really doesn't care, which is amazing in itself. But I've always, as I said, I've always kind of like tried to work on those two premises, and if everything. If I couldn't ever buy another drum set, I've already got enough for many drummers. And obviously I can't feel ungrateful. I feel very lucky. I mean, I have worked for all of this. It's not like anyone's given me anything, but I do work on the principle of buy now, worry later, and I mean that really pertains more or mostly to the financial side of it, and I have been selling things to offset this sort of influx of kits that I've had over the last 2 years. Obviously, kits tend to take up more room than snare drums, and drums take up more room than the cymbals, which probably explains. I should get back to collecting cymbals, really, shouldn't I? But I don't see the point in worrying about not getting things. I mean, in terms of drums, I've missed out on so many drums because I've sat and thought about it for too long. And when I've kind of made my mind up, I'll go back. I'm ready to buy, and we just sold it. And that happened certainly with one Craviotto. In fact, actually, I think that happened. No, that happened with at least 2 Craviottos, funny enough. But that was an example of basically sitting on it and worrying about it and thinking about it, and then you miss out. And I'm just trying to. I don't think too much about this. I mean, I think about whether I can afford it. I do analyse my income. I analyse any gig money that might be turning up. I analyse any other way of financing things, and so it's not without consideration that I buy things. So as I said, buy now, worry later is the general principle. But at the same time, if I clearly can't demonstrate to myself that I can't reasonably afford either it in full or a good chunk of it, then I won't do it. I won't buy it. The secondary consideration is generally, do you have the space for this? Now, you would think, to any reasonable mind, that actually would be possibly even before can you afford it. Probably would actually make more sense to think, have I got room to put this first of all, and then worry about buying it. But it tends not to work too. It's one of those things. I think it sort of goes in and out the other side. You know, I don't have enough room really for the kit that's turning up tomorrow. I have some review gear still here, which admittedly is an electronic kit, and it's broken down into probably about a dozen little boxes and things. So, I mean, if I get rid of that, I do probably I can find the space. The only problem is I'm also getting another drum kit to review. Once the electronic kit goes back, then the other one is coming the same day, I think, probably. So I don't really know where I'm going to put all this stuff. But yeah, as you said, you know, buy now, worry later, and yeah, I'd say that sort of ideology probably gets me into trouble. But I mean, at this rate, if you can genuinely, I know a few of you watching this have been here. And all I can say to that is it's got worse actually since you were here. Yes. Yeah, it's actually, I mean, it's more organised for the most part. I mean, I will say there's a lot of stuff in here. There's more stuff in there. It is actually relatively organised. Certainly in my mind, it's organised. But it's one of those things that the consideration of can I put it somewhere first, it should be the initial thing, but it never really kind of works out that way. I mean, you know, but I just don't want, I don't want to live with regret. That's really the thing. It's much better to regret having done something and maybe it's not worked out, or you could have done something better, or whatever. I think it's better to actually regret doing something than regret not doing something, you know. So, you know what? I mean, if the world all falls out and the bottom falls out of the world, you know, I could always sell them, you know. I don't plan to, but yeah, you know, I mean, why do I need this many drums? I don't know. I really don't. You know, I tend not to. Well, I don't really have any sort of social life outside of music, and certainly, like everyone else in the last 2 years, this being the middle of March 2022, I've not really had any sort of social life in the last 2 years, which actually suits me fine. But you know, I tend not to go out too much. I have relatively low overheads in that respect. And you know, it would be awfully it would be awfully boring to have loads of money in the bank and have no interests and no hobbies. Yeah, So that's my recommendation for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year. Buy now, worry later. See you again.